millions and millions of fake pieces of art are being produced every single day, resulting in millions and millions of fake images of this art being posted online and fooling millions of people. You've probably already gathered that I'm talking about AI art. I've seen a huge increase in fake art on my Facebook recently, especially in the form of huge and intricately detailed wood carvings. Comment after comment from people incredibly impressed with the amount of skill and time that it took to create said pieces. The people who post these images are even using really misleading information to get people invested in the post that they've put on there. Something like their dad or their brother has made this work. So this one, for instance, of this guy standing next to an eagle that seems to have extra wings behind it. The caption is, "He's feeling sad because no one appreciates his work." And lately they've been creating backstories for these artificially generated people, showing off their artificially generated wood carvings. And it may not seem like much of a big deal, right? I mean, it's just an image. After all, they're not doing anything that's illegal necessarily, but I would say it's quite immoral to post stories like that and get people to engage with posts and get likes and such from people and false pretenses. I got my brother late to help me with this, and I got him to send me every instance of AI wood carving that gets fed to him on his Facebook page for about a week. Bear in mind, this was after he had already been blocking these accounts before I asked him to share them with me. So he keeps getting hundreds and hundreds of these things come his way, even though he's blocking them. There's just new accounts always coming up all the time. In total, over a period of 6 days, he sent me 40 different AI wood carving images that he wasn't even searching for. And he's not really a heavy user of Facebook, so that just shows you how much AI art people are churning out. I think the main problem I have with it is just thinking about how difficult it is for an artist to make their work. All the hours and the days and the years of practice and the research that goes into their art that they put into it. And they're struggling to get like a following on social media from it. Then I see a post like this pop up and realise that now these actual hard-working artists, creators, makers have to compete with something that literally takes seconds to produce. And I mean literally in the actual sense of the word. And you might think, well, now, come on, Clint. Surely this can't be made in seconds, you know. You must have to have some kind of special knowledge or specific way to do things to make these kind of images appear. Let me show you just how simple this is. So all you gotta do is go to leonardo.ai and create a free account if you want to. You don't have to do this, I'm just showing you how easy it is. And you get a certain amount of images that you can generate for free. So then you click on AI image generation down here. You can see I've already messed around with it. Then up here it says type a prompt. So we're gonna type woman standing next to wood sculpture of elephant. And at this point, you're probably thinking, no, come on, Clint, it's not going to be that easy to make these realistic images for free, just with that very simple idea that we've put in there. Just press enter. I mean, it's probably going to take a really long time, right? I mean, it would be ridiculous for it to be done in, what, 20 seconds? 30 seconds? And bear in mind that with the paid programs, these get generated a lot faster. Oh, I guess it is that easy. There we go. 4 images we can just quickly post on our Facebook and say, My sister made this wood carving. Please someone give her some credit, because she's sad about it, or something. And those images I made there aren't even the more sophisticated type that you can make with a very generic prompt similar to that. So that's almost like scraping the bottom of the barrel of AI imaging. But even then, they basically look like carbon copies of the images we saw on Facebook, getting thousands of likes and thousands of very nice comments. Speaking of nice comments, I've had plenty recently from my supporters on Patreon. You see how I did that flawless segue there? So if you'd like to help support the channel and help me make bigger and more interesting projects and more daring videos, then please consider clicking on the link in the description below this video. Thanks a lot. So the question is, how can we distinguish fake AI art from real art? Historically, fingers and hands have been a problem for AI art. Sometimes the hands look really all wrinkled and messed up. Sometimes a finger will be sticking out in this direction, or there'll be an extra finger or some kind of nub or something like that. Though I have noticed that recently the hands and the faces and expressions are getting much better just day by day, really. You can also look for objects in weird places, patterns that kind of stop or go off in a weird angle, sort of unnatural twists and stuff like that. Sometimes there's weird focusing and odd looking backgrounds, and I've seen sometimes some of these wood sculptures, people are actually kind of merged with the sculpture, but a quick glance, it's not too obvious. Sometimes it's really hard to spot what's AI, so I don't blame people for being duped by it. Another issue with AI art is now that some actual artists are getting their real art labelled as AI art. Because there are artists who make amazing pieces of art and take incredible photos with awesome lighting, and they can make their very real physical art look dreamlike. And so all their effort on not only making the art piece but taking some great photos and then editing up in Photoshop, which is really kind of a major skill in itself if you've ever tried to do that, it can be cheapened by the fact that lots of times AI art will look similar to it. And that's just another one of the issues that this kind of thing is causing. And I feel bad for the consumer or the appreciator of art as well, because now they're going to be second guessing all the time, trying to look really closely at the artwork to maybe spot all the things that are wrong with it and figure out if its origin is real or fake. It's also been rumoured, I've seen on some posts online, that the posting of fake art in an attempt to trick people that it's real art is a kind of gullibility test on Facebook. So these bad accounts post the artificial images, pretending they're real images. They wait to see who comments on them, and then they message the people with some kind of offer, maybe leading to a link or asking for a friend request or something, seeing if they'll click on it and probably enter in their personal details or something like that. I don't know that for sure, but I've seen it written quite a few times in the comments from people trying to battle these scammers. And honestly, anything that makes people think twice before interacting with these AI art pics posing as real pics is good in my book. And right now, even though when you get used to it, it can be quite easy to see what's AI art and what isn't, it's only going to become more sophisticated and more challenging to tell the difference as time goes on. So you can imagine maybe a post that not just shows a finished piece, but perhaps shows the stages of a carving or the stages of a sketch or something. So perhaps it will be an AI art image of a messy desk with some rough sketches on there, but maybe some poor lighting so it doesn't look quite so dreamlike. You know, I can imagine that being used to make it look even more real than it is now. In fact, it's probably already being used for that. I would like to point out I'm not blameless in the creation and the production and the supporting of AI art. And I'm not against AI art in particular. What I'm actually against is when people try and take an AI art picture and trick people into thinking it's real. That's what I'm against. So I got caught up with how interesting AI art was in the beginning. I bought a month's subscription to a program called Midjourney, which is one of the more popular AI art imaging programs or interfaces, whatever you want to call it. And I made all kinds of images, from dragons to castles and medieval battles and space monkeys and whatever you could think of. And it was so cool to see all these images from my head just coming to life. Like anything I could imagine, just type it in, few words, bang, you got some kind of cool image that would have taken you hours and hours to draw. But after a couple of weeks, I almost felt kind of dumbed down by it. Not only feeling bored with it, but just finding the whole thing pointless. It's kind of like if you play a video game and you have the cheat codes. It's really fun to start off with. You can do all the stuff that you really wanted to do that you could imagine and just have it happen straight away. But then it just makes the whole game worthless. And this is going to sound really cliche, but one of the things that I like about art, that maybe I didn't quite realise how strongly I like it until I started using some AI stuff, was that the struggle is maybe the most important part. You've got the problem solving, the figuring out which tools you have to use, what kind of wood or material that you use to make it come out the way you want it to come out. With AI art, there's none of that. It's just instantaneous, and it just makes it so boring. And without that, it just feels pointless. I don't just want to magic art into existence. I thought I did for a while when I was using the AI, but I realised pretty quickly that no, that is a bleak future that I do not want for myself. So the question is, what can we do to battle these AI images that are being used to dupe people and possibly scam people as well? The first thing that comes to mind is blocking posts on Facebook and reporting the posts to Facebook to say that they're misleading or whatever. But honestly, I don't know how much that actually does. And the fact that anyone can just create an email and then create an AI art account and a Facebook account and then just post. I mean, how is Facebook going to stop that from happening? It's just going to keep happening over and over again. So unfortunately, that doesn't really help the people who just kind of skim past on Facebook and keep liking pictures without really looking at much of what's going on, which is probably what most people do. But the problem is that when you react to a picture like that and it's being used to scam people, you liking that picture actually helps that page grow and then influence more people and reach a wider audience. So it's actually detrimental, you just like clicking like and ignoring what's on the post, you know? So one thing I've noticed people have started doing is creating their own AI art pages and just posting really ridiculous things on there so that people will get used to what AI art looks like, at least for now, until it becomes too sophisticated for us to realise. But at least for now, they're posting things like, oh, my lobster carved this dog, and so they'll have a AI art picture of a lobster next to a carved wooden dog with a chisel in the lobster's hand or something stupid like that, which I encourage greatly. I think that's a brilliant idea. The thing is that AI art isn't going anywhere. If anything, it's going to get bigger, it's going to get more sophisticated, and it's going to be more prevalent. So the real question is, can AI art and more traditional forms of art coexist? I think they can, but it requires some open-mindedness from artists to use AI as a tool rather than seeing it as a competitor. I personally at this stage find it quite boring, but no doubt right now and in the future it's going to be used more and more to come up with concepts and ideas for art projects. So for example, we could type in 10 different design ideas for wood spirits. And then you can see we've got all these different looking faces and stuff that we could use in our own artwork, or at least use the ideas. The good thing is that AI can't think critically like a human, at least not right now. So we're needed for some time yet. Though now with the development of AI video and AI generated voices, perhaps one day soon we'll see AI TV shows and movies, if we haven't already, with AI generated actors who don't need direction or training or food. There's already AI generated music being made, not just instrumental stuff, but with lyrics and singing too, and in fact there's a bunch of YouTube videos where people are creating music albums in just a few hours. Maybe one day in the future you'll see an AI Clint on your screens creating astronomically beautiful wood carvings effortlessly with an upload every single day. A terrifying future indeed.